What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's RFG back at it today, and I'm here to decode the mystery of the goddess Kali and the significance of this Vedic goddess, okay, known as Kali. I'm actually going to break down Kali and Krishna. So I just want to thank all of the supporters out there, all the subscribers. I wouldn't be able to do what I do on a consistent basis if it wasn't for you guys. Alright. Once again, this lecture is going to be breaking down the significance of the goddess Kali and the goddess Krishna. About to shatter more paradigms, especially you feminists out there. Now, we all know I have great respect for women, but these feminists out here, they're gonna have to get checked. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start this off by saying, before the time of Enki versus Enlil in ancient Sumeria, before Osiris versus Set in ancient Kemet, all right, there existed a time on the earth where only females existed. You see, because the deities Enki and Enlil, those are both male deities. Those are male gods. All right. And in Kemet, you had Osiris versus Set. Those are masculine male gods. All right. So this information that I'm going to be touching on is speaking on hundreds of thousands of years ago, before any males even existed on this earth. Back when this earth was called Tiamat. When the earth was called Tiamat, okay, it consisted of only women. When it pertains to humans, the earth only consisted of women first, okay, when it was called Tiamat. And during this time, you have female goddesses that ruled over legions of different females. So you had the goddess Kali, you had the goddess Krishna, you had the goddess known as Nagakanya, okay, and who was really Medusa, and then you had a few others. All right. Now, this goddess known as Kali, she is accepted and worshipped by many as some kind of sacred deity that protects women, basically a universal deity, a universal creator. She symbolizes death and time. Okay, those are the two main things that Kali represents, is death and time. But I'm gonna ask my subscribers to look at this very carefully, and come into this with an open mind and look at her depictions very carefully, okay, before you come to your conclusions, because she's depicted in many forms of art and many pictures and many carvings and many hieroglyphics. She's depicted as a goddess of warfare, chaos, and destruction. I'm going to repeat myself. She is a goddess of warfare, chaos, and destruction, and time. Okay, now what's interesting about that is the planet Saturn. That's the same thing that the planet Saturn represents. Okay, the deity known as Saturn, Kronos, Father Time, those are the same things that he rules over. Chaos, destruction, and time. Okay, and chaos and destruction, those are two low vibrational actions, and time doesn't fucking exist. Time is a fucking illusion. Okay? Okay? So yes, Kali is the goddess of, the dark matter of the universe. She's the goddess of time. She's the goddess of death and chaos. But we have to understand, those are all attributes that are associated with the physical reality, this physical reality we're living in. Those are all attributes to this mundane physical existence. And for all of my subscribers that have been following my work, we all know that the physical world is the real matrix. Okay? This physical world is the real hell. So if you really want to get technical, Kali is the goddess over hell, over the physical world. Okay? So basically what I'm trying to say is, Kali, the goddess Kali, is nothing but the female father time. Kali is the mother time before father time. I'm going to repeat myself. The goddess Kali is mother time before father time. Okay? Before the fucking male sex existed in humans on this earth. Okay? Kali was mother time before father time. Okay? So right here you have it. Okay, so right here, this is what her name means. Okay, Kali. Other word, okay, for it is demon. Okay? Another word for Kali is demon. Okay? The black one. You understand? The black one, the dark one. But see, the darkness doesn't have anything to do with evil. When they say Kali means the black one, they're talking about her skin complexion, because Kali has so much melanin in her blood and in her body. When sunlight hit her skin, okay, it casted a blue reflection. Her skin casted a blue reflection, and she had multiple limbs. Okay, Kali had multiple limbs. There's depictions of her with 4 arms, with 8 arms, and 10 arms. Okay, because Kali had 22 strands of DNA. Kali was a 22-strand goddess, a 22-strand goddess, 22-strand DNA. Today we only have 9 to 13 strands of DNA. Or no, we only have 2 fucking strands of DNA. We used to have 13. Now we only have 2, but goddesses and gods like Kali had 22 strands of DNA. Okay? And right here, goddess of time, creation, and destruction. Now, when you talk about creation and destruction, you're talking about the regeneration of life in this material realm. I'm going to repeat myself. When you talk about creation and destruction, you're talking about the reincarnation process of death and rebirth in this material realm. Okay, you're talking about time. You see, when you talk about time, you're talking about a fucking illusion, okay, that basically enslaves the minds and the energy of sentient beings in this universe. Time is an illusionary construct that is created to enslave the mental state, okay, of a sentient being. That is what time is. Another form of restriction, an illusion that is casted, okay, as a form of restriction. That's time. Okay? And she is ruling over that fucking illusion. She's ruling over the fucking reincarnation process. You see, a lot of the so-called truthers out there, a lot of these so-called gurus, these so-called enlightened folk, they look at a picture of Kali and they'll say, oh, her 8 arms represented the 8 different aspects of karma, and she all of this is just symbolic. This isn't literal. this isn't literal. You know what I'm saying? She really didn't have 8 arms. She wasn't a slayer of men. She wasn't a slayer of men. She wasn't a slayer of testosterone. She wasn't a demon. Okay, she wasn't bloodthirsty. She wasn't a demon. But when you look at the etymology of her name, it says otherwise. When you look at how our ancestors depicted her, it shows otherwise. Okay? Okay? And like I said, Kali lived on Earth during a time when Earth only consisted of female humans that reproduced through parthenogenesis. Go look up parthenogenesis. That is how women can procreate asexually without a man. It's called parthenogenesis. Goddesses like Kali had sperm in their bone marrows. They had sperm in their bone marrow. All right, but you see, they saw what was going on the earth when the male sex was introduced to overthrow the matriarchy on the earth. Let me repeat myself. There were gods that dwelled in the macroverse that engineered the male sex, okay, to come to earth to conquer the Amazon goddesses, to conquer the goddesses, the rulers of matriarchy on the earth. Okay, and this goddess known as Kali, she put many men to death. Okay, along with the goddesses that followed her. So there was a deity sent back on this earth to counteract what Kali was doing. This deity was known as Krishna. Okay, Krishna was the female Christ. Okay, so after Krishna versus Kali, okay, we had a male Christ and we had a male demonic force. Okay, after Krishna and Kali, we had a male Christ and we had a male demonic force, Osiris and Set. So before Osiris and Set, we had a female demonic force and a female Christ. Okay, that's what existed. So the female Christ was sent back on this earth to bring balance, justice, and harmony. Balance, justice, and harmony. So when Krishna came to this earth, okay, Kali, her army was defeated. Okay, like I said, these were female rulers, female goddesses that ruled over empires. This was during the time on this earth where there was a matriarchy. You see, we are under a patriarchal, or at least we think we're under a patriarchal system of government right now, because I still believe the spirit of Kali is still running the goddamn show on this earth right now. You see, that's why every landmass on this earth has a feminine name. It has a feminine connotation, a feminine name. Okay, this earth was originally ruled by females that produced asexually. They got cursed by gods of the macroverse, so they lost the ability to procreate asexually. So they then needed men to procreate. Kali was against this, and you know what I'm saying, started putting males to death. Krishna came to this earth to set things straight, put things back into balance. Kali was killed. Kali's physical body was disposed of, but her spirit, before Kali's spirit could leave her body, Kali put a curse on all of the male humans that were born on the earth. She put a curse on all male humans that were born on this earth. Okay, all right? Now, what was this curse? This curse was to cause the Y chromosome of the male to shrink smaller and smaller after every generation of males were birthed on this earth. So the goddess Kali, she put a curse on the Y chromosome of all males that were born on this earth. So the curse was every generation of males would get more feminine, more feminine, more feminine, more feminine, more feminine as time went on. Okay? And the Y chromosome would shrink and shrink and shrink until the male sex existed no more. Okay? Now, you know what I'm saying? You guys may call this bullshit and you may call this pseudo, but if you, like I said, if you think the greatest architects in human history just got up one day and decided to paint and to draw blue goddesses with 8 arms, okay, chopping the heads off of men. If you think our ancestors just got up one day and decided to put that shit on hieroglyphic walls for no reason, there's something wrong with you. There's something terribly wrong with you. If you really for 1 second think that the greatest architects and the greatest alchemists of all time just decided to get up one day, okay, and randomly draw depictions of female warriors with blue skin, multiple arms, and chopping the heads off of men. If you think our ancestors depicted that for no reason, or you think that they just meant that, you know, they just drew that shit because it meant something else, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Plain and simple. Okay? You know, our ancestors, this was not symbolic of anything else other than what this is depicting. I'm going to repeat myself. This is not symbolic of anything else other than what the fuck this picture is depicting. Because like I said, the scientists have already found the bones of the females underground and have already tested the bones and found the remains of semen in their fucking bone marrow, which proved that they were able to procreate asexually. This information is why Dr. Delbert Blair was murdered. This information is why Dr. Delbert Blair was murdered. Okay? So can't nobody call this shit pseudo. Like I said, you can look at the etymology of the word Kali. Okay? The black one, they're talking about her skin complexion. She had so much neuromelanin that she shined a bluish hue, and she had 22 strands of DNA, which gave her multiple limbs and gave her supernatural abilities and heightened intuition and psychic abilities. Okay? Just like the octopus. If you haven't seen my video on Patreon breaking down the significance of the animal known as the octopus, please go check that out on my Patreon account. Okay? Now, like I said, you see, when you look at Kali, she was depicted just like the octopus. Okay? The octopus doesn't have ink in its body. When the octopus releases that black substance, go look it up. It is not ink, it is melanin. I'm going to repeat myself. When the octopus releases that so-called black ink, it's not black ink, folks. It's really neuromelanin. Go look it up. The octopus is a highly carbonated, melanated being, a highly intelligent being, okay, that can change the color to match its environment. It has 3 hearts, 9 brains, okay, and it carries a lot of melanin. Okay, a lot of the gods and the goddesses, hundreds of thousands of years ago, they had blue skin, purple skin. Osiris had green skin because these gods and goddesses had either copper-based blood or gold-based blood. These gods and goddesses either had copper-based blood or gold-based blood. Okay? And when you do your research, the octopus has copper-based blood. All right? Now, the only reason the octopus doesn't live so long, I believe, is because of their acidic diet, or them being predators. Also, something else in their genome. Okay, something had to be done to their genome for them not to be able to live long. Okay, because with copper-based blood and with all that neuromelanin, all that intelligence, the octopus should be living much longer than what it is. Okay, so like I said, before Krishna defeated Kali, when Kali's spirit left her body, she placed a curse on the male sex, the human male sex, and she basically caused the Y chromosome to shrink after every generation of males were born. Okay, so this particular man, if he had a son, his son would have less testosterone than him because his son's Y chromosome would be smaller than his. You see, and so on and so forth. That son, when that son grew up and had his own son would have less testosterone than him because his son would have a smaller Y chromosome than him. Okay, the Y chromosome has been shrinking for hundreds of thousands of years. The Y chromosome has been shrinking for hundreds of thousands of years. And any scientist or biologist trying to say that that men won't go extinct, they're a fucking agent. I'm going to repeat myself. Any biologist or scientist saying that the Y chromosome won't go extinct, they're a fucking disinformation agent. They are a disinfo agent, period. Okay? Because, like I said, if you don't believe me, I'll let this individual break it down.
What makes boys and girls different? It can be a really complicated question, but when it comes down to biological sex in humans, the difference is in the Y chromosome. We know that the Y chromosome is important, but scientists also know that it's been shrinking in size over millions of years, and some even think it might eventually disappear. But recent studies on the Y chromosome in a lot of mammals suggest that it has more important genes besides the ones that contribute to maleness. Chromosomes are bundles of DNA and other stuff that are stored in the nucleus of your cells. Most people have 23 pairs of chromosomes, one set from mom and one set from dad. 22 of these pairs look the same in all humans, but the last pair is known as the sex chromosomes, X and Y. Generally, biological females have 2 X chromosomes, and biological males have 1 X and 1 Y. The Y chromosome is less than half the size of the X, and it contains way fewer functional genes. But it wasn't always this way. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the X and Y chromosomes of our human ancestors were the same size.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. He just said hundreds of millions of years ago, the X and the Y chromosomes of humans were the same size. He said hundreds of millions of years ago, the X and the Y chromosome of humans was the same size. Okay? You understand? That means that the Y chromosome had the same amount of DNA in it as the X chromosome. So what the fuck caused the Y chromosome to start shrinking? And they're saying it's hundreds of millions of years ago. That's bullshit. It was hundreds of thousands of years ago when the Y chromosome was the same size as the X chromosome. Okay? So if we were more manly men, with more testosterone back in the day, and it's already been proven that the Y chromosome was much larger back in the day, like I said, what the fuck caused the Y chromosome to just magically start shrinking? You guys better start waking the fuck up, because the so-called Lucifer, that's really so-called evil, that the elites are worshiping, it's a female deity. It's the female aspect of Lucifer. It's a goddess named Hathor, okay? And in East India they call her Krishna, okay? That's the demonic entity behind this bullshit right here.
And they could swap genetic information with each other through a process called genetic recombination. Recombination helps us evolve over time and protects against potentially dangerous mutations in our genes. But at some point, the X and Y chromosomes became so different that they lost most of their ability to recombine. So any mutations that changed or deleted part of the Y chromosome couldn't really be fixed, and it kept shrinking over millions of generations. Today, in humans, the Y chromosome that men are carrying around with them has only 3% of the functional genes it once did. But fear not, Y-havers.
You heard what he just said? He said the Y chromosome only has 3% of the genes that it originally had. I'm going to repeat myself. The Y chromosome only has 3% of the genes that it once had. Do you know what the fuck that means? That means, in my opinion, that means in about 1,000 to 2,000 years, the male sex is not going to exist on this earth anymore. Okay? And like I said, all the mainstream scientists and biologists talking about, oh, we're good. Oh, yeah, the Y chromosome, it'll last another few million years. I'm telling you folks, they're bullshit. They're bullshitting. They are bullshitting. They're paid for disinfo agents. Okay? You can tell by simple pictures. Go look at an athlete. Go look at a famous athlete and go look at a picture of his son. Go look at a famous entertainer and go look at a picture of his son. Okay? Go look at a famous politician. Go look at a picture of his son. 9 times out of 10, his son is not going to look as masculine as him. It's, like I said, it's common sense. It's common sense. Males are being wiped off of this earth. Males, in my opinion, males have it the worst on this earth, especially in the United States. Okay? Males have it the worst. And society is against the dominant masculine male. The dominant masculine intelligent male. Society is against us. Okay? And that's because this matrix, this world that we're living in, it is ruled by a demonic deity, and this particular demonic deity is feminine. It is feminine. Okay?
Researchers think that this decay seems to have leveled off in most mammals, including humans, over the past 25 million years or so. For example, 2 studies in 2014, one by MIT researchers and one by Swiss scientists, analyzed Y chromosomes across 8 to 15 mammalian species. As expected, they found some of the same sex-determining genes, like the SRY gene, which helps develop all those male reproductive bits, but they also found genes conserved across Y chromosomes in many species that didn't have to do with maleness. These are regulatory genes, genes that regulate the expression of other genes by basically turning them on and off. While most genes on sex chromosomes only need one copy to function normally, scientists think some important regulatory genes require pairs. So in females, each X chromosome has 1/2 of a pair of regulatory genes, and in males, there's one gene on the X and the paired one is on the Y. So the scientists think that a lot of Y chromosome genes work with the genes on the X chromosome to help regulate other genes that shape healthy human development. But lots more research needs to be done to figure out which pairs of genes affect which parts of development. No matter what though, it seems that the Y chromosome isn't just about creating maleness after all, and it's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Thanks for asking, and thanks to all of our Patreon patrons who keep these answers coming. If you'd like to submit a question to be answered, just go to patreon.com/scishow, and don't forget to go to YouTube.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut it off right there, but he basically said, okay, the same thing that I was saying earlier in this video, all right? It has been proven over and over and over again that the Y chromosome has continued to shrink over hundreds of thousands of years of human existence on this earth. Okay? Okay? And like I said, if you're calling the information that I put out about the goddess Kali, if you're calling that sexist, if you're calling that toxic masculinity, if you're calling that hate speech, you know what I'm saying? You can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? I came back on this earth to shed as much light to humanity as possible, and to bring, you know what I'm saying, to expose truth to power, and that's it. You know, I'm not here to appease anybody. I'm here to spread truth by any means necessary. Okay? Flat out. Flat out. So, you know what I'm saying? Yes, the original Christ was a female, but that was done because you know what I'm saying, this demonic entity known as Kali, you know what I'm saying, wanted to put the male sex to death, wanted to extinguish the male sex from the earth, and before she could be fully killed by the army of Krishna, like I said, she casted that spell on the male sex over the earth. Okay, so every generation of men, you know what I'm saying? Every generation of men, as they go by, their Y chromosome gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Their testosterone gets weaker, weaker, and weaker. So, like I said, all I'm doing is putting the pieces of the puzzle together. The females that existed on this earth, they were able to procreate asexually without men. That means that they were goddesses. They lost that power. They obviously lost that power. Why is that? Okay? Why is that? Okay? So that, you know, that's been proven. And like I said, it's also been proven that the Y chromosome is getting smaller and smaller and smaller until the male sex exists no more. So yes, Kali, her physical presence was defeated, but she got the last laugh. She still got the last laugh. Okay? Because unless an act of dark alchemy is conducted to save the Y chromosome, males on this earth are done. Unless an act of dark alchemy is conducted to preserve and save the Y chromosome, males on this earth will be finished. Okay? Flat out. All right? And see, this whole notion of light versus dark, and light means good and darkness means evil, that's a goddamn sham. That's a goddamn psyop and that's one of the biggest shams in history of light representing good and darkness representing evil. The whole notion of there's a war going on between the light and the dark. That's a huge lie, folks. Okay? Both the original Christ, okay, and the original demonic entity on the earth, they were both dark matter beings. They were both dark matter beings. Kali, okay, means the black one. She was so dark that her skin shined blue. Krishna, the etymology of Krishna means the darkening. The etymology of Krishna, the Christ, means the darkening. So like I said, Krishna represents the dark forces of dark matter. Kali represents the dark forces of dark matter. But here's the difference. Kali chooses to operate on a low vibration. She chooses to operate on low vibrational light waves. Krishna, okay, chose to operate on high vibrational light waves. You cannot control those light waves unless you are a dark matter being. Okay, so on both sides, it's dark matter beings, but it's all about high vibrations of light versus low vibrations of light. Krishna, her name means the darkening. Kali, her name means the black one. So that, like I said, that whole notion of light versus dark is bullshit. So you can miss me, you know what I'm saying, when motherfuckers was coming on my Star Wars video talking about, you know, I didn't know what I was talking about, when I said that the Sith should really be called the Jedi and the Jedi should really be called the Sith. You know what I'm saying? That is a fact. That is a fucking fact. Okay? There's no light side of the Force, okay, whatsoever. There's only the dark side, and you manipulate the light by using the dark matter. I'm going to repeat myself. There's no light side of the Force versus dark side of the Force. It's all dark matter. It's all dark energy. It's all the dark side of the Force, and it's what has to be used to manipulate the light. And you can either manipulate light at a low frequency or you can manipulate light at a high frequency. There is no fucking light versus dark. The light wouldn't exist without the dark. I'm going to repeat myself. The light wouldn't exist without the dark. That's why any form of light cannot escape a black hole. Any form of light cannot escape a black hole. Okay? There is no fucking light versus dark. There would be no light if there was no dark. Okay, you guys got to wake the fuck up, man. All right? So once again, these beings had 22 strands of DNA. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Many gods and goddesses had multiple limbs. They were extremely tall, very muscular. They probably had multiple hearts and heightened awareness, heightened intuition, psychic abilities, telepathic abilities, supernatural abilities. Okay, 22 strands of DNA. Large amount of neuromelanin in their body, which caused their skin to shine in shades of blue, purple, or green. Also, okay, their blood was also blue, purple, and green. Okay, copper and gold-based blood. The octopus operates the same way. The octopus just doesn't live long. Okay? The octopus is a melanated being. All right? So yes, Kali, the goddess Kali, she rules over dark matter. She rules over the dark matter. She rules over time, and she rules over you know what I'm saying, chaos. And that is the same God. That's the same thing that Set ruled over. That's the same thing that Set ruled over. And Set later became Saturn Kronos. So therefore Kali is nothing but the fucking female version of a Saturn, of a Kronos. Okay? We have to understand that just because a deity is melanated and carbonated, that doesn't mean shit. That you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that deity is not a low vibrational. That doesn't mean that deity isn't low vibrational. Plain and simple. Okay, you guys better wake the fuck up. That's like saying all our ancestors were righteous. That's like saying as long as our ancestors were melanated, all of them were righteous. Come on, man. We gotta wake the fuck up. We gotta wake the fuck up. Seriously. Okay? So like I said, Kali, she rules over time, she rules over chaos, she rules over destruction and regeneration. So that's basically reincarnation. So she's the female Saturn. She's the original mother time. She's not father time. Kali is mother time. Okay? And this sigil right here, okay, is what Kali rules over. That is the physical matrix. That's the physical matrix, all of the matter that we see with our eyes. Okay? Because this is the human light spectrum of vision. This sigil of Lucifer is the human light spectrum of vision. We can only see in the light photon spectrum. That means that this physical world is really a fucking illusion, because all light photons are just light waves that are trapped in magnetic fields called light photons. And the magnetic fields of photons, they give the illusion of solid matter. Okay? But that solid matter can be broken down all the way down until it doesn't even fucking exist anymore, because it's all an illusion. Okay? It's all an illusion. This realm of matter is all a fucking illusion. You see? So this right here symbolizes the goddess Hathor in ancient Kemet. Okay? The goddess Kali in East India. Okay? That's what this shit, you see, this is what the elites pay homage to. The elites pay homage to the feminine aspect of Lucifer. The elites pay homage to the feminine aspect of Lucifer. How do we know that this matrix is feminine? Let's look at the word matrix. It starts with M-A. M-A is like ma. Ma, like mama, like ma, like mother. Matrix, M-A. Okay, that's feminine. Matter, matter, physical matter, which is an illusion of light photons. Matter starts with M-A. Material starts with M-A. Magnetic, magnetic, M-A. Okay, the only reason we see the matter is because the light waves were trapped in magnetic fields. The light waves were trapped in magnetic fields, which gave it the illusion of matter. You see M-A, all M-A. The matrix is feminine. Period. Okay? And I can prove this biologically. When you even look at the behavior of most female humans, especially in the United States and in Europe, okay? Who would you say is more materialistic out of a man or a woman? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to speak too general. I'm not trying to speak on all women, but I'm just going to ask a simple question. You know what I'm saying? Do you hear men say that they're not gonna associate with women just because they don't have a certain amount of money? How many times do you see a man turn down a beautiful woman just because she doesn't have money? I'm gonna repeat myself. How many times did you see in your lifetime a man turn down a beautiful woman because the woman didn't have enough money? You guys better wake the fuck up, man. You guys better wake the fuck up. 'Cause like I said, the evidence is all around you. All around you. Okay? So we can physically see why the female sex lost their power. Okay? And why you know what I'm saying? The male's existence on this earth was counteracted by Kali. You know what I'm saying? It all fits together like a puzzle. It all fits together like a puzzle, folks. Okay? But with all that being said, that's really all I had to say on this topic. I appreciate everyone who supports RFG and Atlantean movement. And like I said, I don't intend to offend anybody with this information. This is just the cold hard truth. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, there will be some women out there and some females, who attempt to take action to make change of what's going on in this society today. You know what I'm saying? That, hopefully there's some females out there who take pride in going against the status quo, going against the grain, going against the matrix. You know what I'm saying? We need more of that. We need more female truthers. We need way more female truthers with their own platform. Way more. Okay? So with all that being said, that's all I had to say. I appreciate everyone who supports RFG and Atlantean movement. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's the Chosen One, man. I'm out.